Hi there, welcome. Oh, hi there, welcome back to the clinic. Today we have Dr. Herzog with us. Dr. Herzog, could you please explain a little bit about what you do?
Sure. I'm a professor and a scientist at Washington University in St. Louis. So I study what wakes us up and what puts us to sleep. And I teach classes in neuroscience to undergraduates and graduate students at the university.
Interesting. So, Dr. Herzog, could you tell us more about your lab or research?
Sure. So my lab is comprised of about 20 people, ranging from a high school student, some undergraduates, some graduate students, and postdoctoral fellows. And together, we are testing the hypothesis that circadian clocks in the body are important for normal daily rhythms in physiology and behavior. And when they're disrupted, for example, when we travel across time zones and experience jet lag or work shift work or other things that can disrupt our normal daily schedule, that can lead to health problems. The two health problems that my lab focuses on are preterm birth and glioblastoma, a form of brain cancer.
Oh, so what is circadian rhythm?
A circadian rhythm is a built-in biological daily rhythm. You inherit your circadian rhythm with the genes that you get from your parents. The genetic program generates a near 24-hour cycle in gene expression, protein expression, hormone secretion, and many other aspects of your physiology. It's what tells you when to wake up and when to go to sleep.
So, what controls the circadian rhythm?
On the most simplistic level, we can describe it as a gene regulatory program, where of your 20,000 or so genes, about a dozen are considered to be clock genes, those genes that are dedicated to generating these near 24-hour rhythms. Those genes turn on, make their mRNAs, make their proteins, and their proteins go back into the cell's nucleus to turn off those genes. Those genes then turn off, their mRNA goes away, their protein goes away, that repression goes away, and the cycle can start anew. So we have a transcription, translation, negative feedback loop, or a TTFL, and that's how a circadian rhythm gets started.
All right, so what are the cons of having a messed up circadian rhythm?
There are probably many, including, for example, inappropriate control of your own metabolism. So one way to mess up your circadian rhythm is to eat at night when you should normally be eating during the day, or to eat on an irregular schedule, or to get light at irregular times. Those things can lead to things like weight gain, diabetes, obesity, and even metabolic syndrome, where people have really severe inability to regulate things like their body temperature, their immune system. And consequences can include things like changes in mood. Uh, think of when you've traveled across time zones and felt kind of cruddy for a few days, that sort of malaise or jet lag is probably the beginnings of a circadian disorder.
So, Um, sorry. So what would be some pros like of having a good circadian rhythm? Like, would you function better during the day or something like that?
Yeah, we think every organism on this planet has inherited an evolved circadian clock system, and that clock system is there to help you anticipate the challenges of living on Earth, the challenges of having every day the sun coming up and going down the regular schedule. So the benefits of having a clock are knowing when food will be available. Most simple example would be if you're a plant. You need to be able to anticipate when the sun's rising so that you'll be able to photosynthesize during those hours of sunlight. And then when the sun sets, you need to be prepared to completely change how you move sugars in your body, since you're going to be starving through the night. So if you think about how you live your life, you eat and then fast every day. Your fasting has to last about 8 hours. If you're going to get a good night's sleep, you need to be able to survive on the food you've stored and hopefully not have to wake up and go pee too often.
So, what are the main disturbers of circadian rhythm, as in like light or sounds?
Yeah, great question. Um, in humans, we think that light is the primary natural cue that helps us synchronize to local time. So we think that light is a very important and powerful cue. So anything you do to disrupt the normal light dark cycle, like living in a dim college dorm room or not getting much light in a high school classroom, or turning on lights at night, looking at your phone, looking at your computer screen, those things can be significant disruptors of your circadian rhythm. We've seen that, for example, you can really change a high school student's sleep schedule just by taking them camping away from the artificial light of the natural world so that they experience just the really strong light dark cycles that we experience outside.
So, you've spent some time in many different climates before. How do different climates affect the circadian rhythm? And uh, also, like as you travel, does jet lag play a role too?
Great. So the first thing, we've talked about how light is a very important cue for your circadian rhythm. So the farther you move away from the equator on this planet, the more extreme the changes in daylight are. So we call that photoperiodism. So in the extremes, if you go to, for example, Antarctica in the Antarctic summer, the sun is up 24 hours a day for many, many months. And in constant light, that can have some pretty amazing effects on humans, including making them sleep a lot less and actually making them feel sort of manic. They can talk about feeling extreme elation and the ability to just work continuously. On the other extreme, when it becomes constant darkness, some people will complain about depression, needing to sleep a lot more, and even right here in St. Louis, where I live, you'll see people complaining about the February blues or seasonal affective disorder. When we get less light, people will talk about changes in mood, metabolism, and other aspects of our physiology and behavior.
So, how can we improve our schedules to better fit our circadian rhythm?
Great question. If you're a high school student trying to get up earlier, for example, so that you can be at your best when classes start, one thing you could do is think about, what kind of light am I experiencing in my everyday? So ideally, when you go to school, you'd be experiencing light. Now that can be difficult if it's dark when school starts. But what you can try to do is ensure that when you get to school, you're sitting near an open window, so you get natural light. If at all possible in your bedroom, try and put your bed next to a window so you get natural light. And don't pull the shades down so that in the morning when the sun rises, you're getting that natural light. At the other end of the day, at night, as the sun's going down, start thinking about what light is doing to your circadian rhythm. So if you experience light after sunset, your body interprets that as, oh, sunset came later than I expected, and it delays your schedule. It basically thinks you've flown to Hawaii. And so it's going to adjust your body clock accordingly and delay your daily schedule. So if you're getting light after sunset that's strong enough in intensity and includes the right colors of light, you can actually make it even harder to wake up the following morning because you've been delaying your clock. So one way to avoid that is, if you're working with light at night, and many of us do, try and read by relatively dim incandescent lights or lights that don't have a lot of blue in them. So there's an app you can put on your phone and on your computer that filters out a lot of the blue light and keeps your computer screen relatively dim in the evenings. And that's been proven to actually help young people stay on a regular schedule where they want to wake up earlier in the day rather than say at 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
What are some you were talking about apps. What are some of the apps out there that could help us do that?
There are a lot of different ones that control your light on your screens. One of my favorites, one of the pioneers, was one called F.Lux, F period LUX. That's now been adopted by a lot of the different operating systems. So if you have a Mac, it has its own built-in, I think it's called Night Shift app, and you can tell your computer with those settings to when you want it to dim the blue light on your computer screen. And that's a good one to play with on your computers. Other apps are things that people will play with that tell them when to eat, and just logging when you eat is a good thing to notice. So some people think, oh, I'm doing a good job eating during my waking hours when the sun is up, but then they start to notice that in fact they snack after the sun has gone down. So one way to avoid that, to try and live on a 10-hour diet, is to actually use an app to track what time of day do I eat and how much am I eating during the daylight hours. There are other fun apps that track sleep, and you can try using some of those apps that are designed to sort of, for example, help wake you up after each complete cycle of deep sleep. And people have reported that that can help them wake feeling more refreshed.
All right. Well, Dr. Herzog, thank you so much for answering my questions. And it was really nice to have you on the show.
Very nice to meet you, Rishi. Thanks for your help.